Alright guys, so just by a random kind of circumstance, I got sent by accident the long brake arm by Thrashin, and when I ordered the short brake arm. So I'm sending the long one back today. He sent me back the postage, sent it back. But since I got both of them, I thought I might as well show you what they both look like compared to each other before it's going to be sent back. So this long brake arm is going to be about, I think, 8.8 inches, and this is just going to be 6.8. So it's just 2 inches different from the stock length. And this isn't really necessarily long, it's just stock. But they're literally the same thing, just minus the 2 inches. So I figured you guys would like to see that just kind of side by side together. But they are both great pieces. But for me, in my preference, I'm going to try the short arm. So I think that's just going to look a little bit better. So it's about down to the 8. And the shorty, which is about 6.8. So those are the two brake arms, but I'm going to be sending, like I said, the long one home today, and this is what we're going to be installing on the bike. Alright guys, so I just want to show you what the stock brake arm looks like with the floorboards right now. I'll try and get as much of an even shot for you guys as I can, but this is where our brake arm is currently. So height wise, we're pretty up. You have to kind of move your foot forward to press down. So once we get the Thrashin Supply shorty brake arm on there in the lowest position, I'm thinking we're going to go with the lowest position. We'll kind of compare and see with this view side by side to see just how much of a difference it is. Alright guys, I need to give you a little bit extra idea. So see from the very bottom, let's say it's about 3.5 from the floorboard to the top of the brake arm. So you have tons of room to put your foot underneath it. So once we get this off, we'll take a look and see how the short brake arm looks and how much clearance we have, how much forward more it is, all those good things. First thing we're gonna do, we gotta take out the floorboards, and then we'll get to this nut, start taking that off. There's a cotter pin and a washer behind that we gotta take out before we can slide everything off. And we're reusing the bushings for the brake arm. So we'll put those on in the new one. Let's get this done. Alright, so floorboards are off. Just took off the brake arm nut and washer. There's a little rubber gasket. We're going to take that off too. That's all going to be reused. So make sure you keep all the stock parts too, because you're going to use some of this stuff when you're putting it back on the brake arm. Alright, so a lot of things have been going on. So I got the brake arm off. The worst part was trying to get the stupid cotter pin out on the back side that holds the brake arm in. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This little sucker, just trying to get that cotter pin out, was kicking my ass. There's a little washer on the back of that you don't want to forget. So once you get that out, you're able to slide the brake arm off. I did have to loosen this front floorboard mount because I couldn't get it any further back and pull it out with it hitting the pipe and this, so I just moved that forward. To get the stock bushings out, which are these, which we've already kind of hammered out, they said you could use a 5/8. I believe they said they use a 5/8. I haven't looked at the directions in a little bit, but I just used the 9/16 with the extender, and that worked fine with me. So I just popped them through, just caught them when I pushed them out, just use a little rubber mount to kind of knock them through, and that should be the last piece that you need from the stock stuff to put back into your Thrashin Supply. So it's been, I don't know, I think it started around 11, so for someone that's probably better and more mechanically abled, it'd be quicker, but it's been like 45 minutes of me trying to get that thing taken apart, and mainly that was because the cotter pin took the longest time, and then just this quick little adjustment so I can move this forward to get the brake arm off. And there's a washer that's going to be back here. You're going to take that off and reuse that as well. But that should be everything stock wise that needs to be off the bike for now. So we're going to put the stuff together and we'll go from there. Alright everyone, we took the bolts out. We put the stock washers back in, or stock bushings into the brake arm. Now we're going to choose our adjustable length. So on the top here, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there's little notches up at the top there. So you got 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the stock, 2 is mid, and 3 is lowest. I think we're going to try lowest. We're going to put the adjuster on here because there's a little notch. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little notch on here that you'll line up with that third line. Put it up, we're going to Loctite these bad boys on, and then we're going to go put this on the bike. Lord have mercy. Okay, the part is on. Again, it was that stupid cotter pin. So I got the washer on, I kept on dropping it and having to put it back down there, and then finally got the cotter pin in. I spent way too much time just doing the stupid cotter pin, but the cotter pin's in with the washer. Yay! So that, knock on wood, was the worst of it. Everything else should be more simple and easy to reach besides that one cotter pin. So let's get this last bits of stuff on here. And mechanics, I don't know how you have the patience for this stuff. Anyways, let's get the rest of the stuff on here. All right, hopefully the worst is in front of us or behind us. So for my specs for my 2017 Road Glide Special in my climber's manual, it says about 15 to 20 pounds-foot of torque for the brake arm bolt, so we did that already. Make sure you put Loctite on there. So now we're basically just going to be putting, as I drop everything, the brake arm on there. I guess there's a little bit of adjustability. We'll put that on, see how that feels, and then we'll put the brake or the floorboard on and go from there. So we're almost there. All right, so it's all on. So this bolt right here is the 5/16. This is the P54 Slim, I believe. So again, we have the brake arm in the lowest position. So we push down. It's not hitting the bag or the floorboard or anything like that. So it's definitely a lot lower. So height to the bottom is like what I'd say, just about 2 inches to almost the very bottom, maybe a little less than that even, 1 3/4. All right, so from back of the board down, I got you clocked in at about a foot still, a foot completely from the back of the brake pedal to the back end of the board, and that's not including having a little bit more if you go from back to the side, obviously, but you got a foot still. So like I said, I can put my foot all right here. I just can't slide my front of my foot underneath like I used to. So if that makes a big difference to you guys, go with their stock version. That'll probably bring you out to like here maybe for the brake arm, I'm guessing, or brake pedal, and then you can move your foot higher or lower with that still. So if you want more board, I suggest stock. So if you want to use the full length of the board, use the stock length arm that they have, or even have this at a higher position. And again, if you have it higher, it's going to bring you back a little bit further, but the pedal will be higher. But I just wanted to show you guys what it looked like before and after the measurements, so that way you guys have a better idea, and hopefully that helps a bit. So yeah. All right guys, I wanted to show you again comparison. We got the good old-fashioned 12-foot Vans. We're gonna throw this on here so you guys can get an idea of what the positioning on the floorboard looks like. So since I have the shorty shifter and it's at the lowest position, it's as far forward as you possibly could get with it being the short shifter, I guess you could say, or not short shifter, the short brake arm. So it does kind of come back. I guess you would say it's almost the same height as the stock one, but obviously you're just a lot lower. As you can see, you can get the full 12-inch fan completely on the floorboard behind the brake pedal. But I usually ride kind of like this almost anyways, my foot kind of out, and then it's just like a little tap to press down on the brake pad. So it's an easy switch just right here, and you can honestly even rest your foot on it, and it's pretty comfortable doing that without any issues. I will say it is very, very strange going from stepping up here and trying to hit brake pedal to going just to here. The first time I got on the bike, I completely missed the brake and went like this. So I'm still getting used to it. There's also a lot less, I think, play in the brake arm. So you're just going from there to there. So finding the feel is just gonna take some more miles on it. I've been riding with it just a little bit, but I want to ride more with it until I do a ride review on it in this video. So we're doing a little bit more R&D. But one thing I have found nice, it's easy to rest your foot on there when you need to, instead of having to have it resting up high and killing your calf. So This is what it looks like on there with the 12-inch van, just so you guys kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And then again, most of the time I'm riding almost like in this position, foot slightly out on the board, just because it's kind of comfortable that way. So everyone, I've had the brake arm on for about probably like a week and a half now with riding time. I've been trying to get in the saddle a little bit with it, see how it feels, see how I like it with it actually on the bike. To start out, looks are great. I love the look of it. It looks fantastic. The low profile is a lot better, so I very much enjoy it. It's a lot cleaner of a look than that big chrome arm that we had on there before. For that, I'm very happy. I will say, getting used to the feel of it has been the biggest thing. The stock brake arm is so high that when you go to press on it, you're almost like pressing forward when you are stepping on the brake arm. And I've had this bike for a year before I changed that brake arm now. Getting used to going from like this to stop action of like this is a big change. So the feel of that brake arm is completely different from the stock one, and the first time I actually went to step on the brake when I had put it on new, I completely missed the brake. I stepped way over it and overshot it. Didn't need to stop for anything serious, but just was hilarious because it's like, this is completely different. Hey, look at that, some more friends. You guys are good. Alright, I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to hear any of this, so getting used to stepping on that brake arm and going in a downward step motion versus the kind of forward press motion has been the biggest challenger. Now also, I went with the short brake arm. I have it in the lowest setting. That way is the furthest forward that I can get that brake arm. Now, I guess I do have some like, bigger feet than, I don't know if they're bigger feet, but in normal, like a size 12, so I do use like the full floorboards when I can. As you can see from the earlier video when I'm doing the vans on the boards, I can still get my full foot on the boards behind the brake arm, but where I used to be able to tuck my foot underneath the brake arm while it was in the up position, I'm not able to do that with the brake arm in the lowest position here. Which is fine because most of the time my foot's just like this off to the side anyways, and it's comfortable like that. But it's just something for you to know, like if you're used to like kind of sticking your foot underneath because you have all that clearance, if you go with the low brake arm, you're not going to be able to do that. And besides the feel of, instead of going forward with the brake and pressing down, finding that placement of your foot, it's just the finding the play in the actual brake pedal is another thing, because I feel like there's less play in the how much you have to push to hit like your brakes. It's a lot less significant, which is nice because you're not having to move your foot as much, but it's again something you got to get used to. So I will say, after riding for about a week and a half or so, I'm starting to get the feel of it a little better. My rear and front braking are coordinating better now, so it just takes some time and some miles in the seat to kind of get used to that. I will say, when we're going through LA and we're splitting lanes up there, it is way more comfortable to kind of be able to rest my foot just like this and then squeeze down when I need to put a little bit of rear brake on when we're kind of filtering fluid, versus like having it all the way hiked up and getting like a calf cramp after riding for like 20 minutes. And those are the main things that I've kind of noticed. It's only been a week and a half. I love the look. Aesthetically, a billion times better. Functionality for like lane splitting, being able to kind of have your foot just like hovering over that brake pad or that brake pedal is a lot more comfortable that way. Ugh. And it's just like most things, like going from riding a year with the same brake arm to a new one, it's gonna feel funky right off the bat. So I wouldn't be concerned if you get something new like the brake arm or a new piece on your bike and you've been riding with it for so long that it's like, oh, this kind of feels wrong. It's just because you're so used to it. Like going from, oh, this is the bumpy part here. Going from the stock handlebars to these
feel like a major change, and that was only after a few months of riding with the regular stock ones. So just like anything, it takes some time to get used to it and get a feel for it. So give it some time. So I think the biggest recommendation, if you're kind of looking between the long brake arm or the stock brake arm, if you want to be able to use the full board and have that brake pedal further front of the floorboards, I say get the long brake arm. If you like it, you got some like smaller feet, you don't have to move your feet as much with the shorter brake arm. It's also nice because you can just kind of hover over it when you need to use it for the brake arm. With it being shorter, you don't have to move your foot really at all. It's just kind of a little flip in and flip out. I mean, those are the main things that I've noticed so far. And again, that's just my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. I am no expert. My opinion ain't worth jack, but to me, so take it or leave it. But that's kind of my thoughts while riding on the bike with the brake arm. I think we'll end the video there, but if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to put them down below. I'll respond to them, give you my 2 cents as best I can. I think you guys will probably be able to see from the video how frustrated I was with just doing like the little bits and pieces of trying to install this brake arm. Give yourself some time. It took me like 2 hours total to put the brake arm on, with removing the old one and putting the new one on. So you guys probably can do it a lot quicker than I can. That cottering pin in the back was just my arch nemesis. If you guys are working on it, good luck. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Later.